Like, can I get a legit, honest answer?
What is your question?
Everyone blames Cody, but what if the real chaos agent has been sitting beside him the entire time? Every once in a while, the carefully constructed image of Robyn Brown, the devoted wife, the gentle soul, the misunderstood peacemaker, starts to crack. And when it does, what seeps through is a little less angel, a little more chaos agent.
I don't want to be here for this conversation.
Take the scene where she storms out of an RV, clearly irritated, and lets loose some choice words about the weather. Not exactly the picture of grace. Then, for extra flair, she nonchalantly kicks an old dog out of her path. A truly heartwarming moment for the family scrapbook.
So Robyn came over today. She's asking me about how Cody and Christine's relationship has been through the years.
Then there's the side of her that thrives on well-timed revelations. She casually reveals that Christine had been talking about leaving Cody as far back as Las Vegas, yet somehow acts utterly stunned when Christine and Cody's relationship implodes. The shocked expression? Just a bonus feature in the ongoing performance. Her most iconic move? Dismissing Christine's very real and personal experiences as not legitimate. According to Robyn, Christine claiming she and Cody were struggling must have been some kind of hallucination.
I'm glad this has all worked out this way.
What you are hearing is that he's saying if you have a longer courtship, you're going to have a better marriage.
Meanwhile, Robyn insists she and Cody don't communicate during the very conversation in which she speaks on his behalf. The irony writes itself.
Was mine and Cody's, and that's not true.
I never said that.
You did say that. You said in Vegas, the only people that were close was us.
I didn't say that.
And in that same emotionally charged episode, she responds to something Christine never even said, as if playing her own game with her own script. The result? Unintentionally comedic, if it weren't so awkward.
So you're going to Utah? Janelle is indicating by her actions.
When Cody goes wife to wife, asking for their thoughts on Christine's idea of moving to Utah, Robyn's attitude is anything but composed. She's sharp, aggressive, and Cody looks visibly shaken. Not something viewers were used to seeing from the man of the house.
I think so, yeah.
And you're going to Utah.
Then comes Christmas. Janelle and Christine organize a festive celebration with all the familiar family traditions. Robyn doesn't attend, but her couch commentary is explosive. Emotionally erratic, dramatic, and deeply bitter, her reaction doesn't come across as sadness. It's something darker.
To do.
Cody gave us the rules that we needed to follow in order to get together for the holidays, and I showed them to Aspen and McKelty.
Even moments involving the children reveal questionable instincts. When Cody recalls a meaningful conversation with Aspen, Robyn jumps in to reframe it as a confrontation. Cody himself looks confused by the sudden rewrite. And let's not forget little Truly, just a toddler, curiously approaching a gift, only to be flicked away like an annoyance. So much for maternal warmth.
Everybody is touching all of my stuff. You know the box of cereal that I just put in my cupboard? You know someone else at the store touched that, right?
Then there's the controlling behavior with food, refusing to let the older kids have a bowl of cereal. Not exactly nurturing. Two particular incidents are especially unsettling. The moment she tells her children, on camera, that their biological father signed away his parental rights. The emotional weight in the room is palpable. This is not an act. Even if it was a recreation, the discomfort is raw and real. The only person who shows any sensitivity? Mary. When Janelle returns after her mother's funeral, Robyn arrives to console her by saying she too feels like she experienced a loss. It's not just tone deaf, it's breathtakingly self-centered.
I went and looked at dresses, and she picked one out, and I was like, holy cow, it's like I'd seen it in my dreams, you know?
And then there's the wedding dress saga. Robyn had already picked out a gown with Cody before going dress shopping with the other wives, a trip framed as a sweet group moment. She even asked Cody not to tell them. Nothing says sisterhood like orchestrated deception.
I don't have a lot of dishes for 6 separate tables, but I do have enough dishes for 3 tables.
Even seemingly trivial moments give things away, like when she disagrees with Mary over how to arrange tables for a dinner party. Mary suggests one big table. Robyn wants 3 separate ones. Cody sides with Mary. Robyn responds by sulking and dramatically throwing chairs around. Subtlety isn't her strong suit. I hated Tony the second he walked on screen, and I had every reason to.
They both speak a tiny bit of English.
So I'm telling Christine that there's nothing more awkward than a language barrier.
Tony doesn't exactly make a winning first impression. From the moment he appears, his energy is jarring, borderline abrasive. His sense of humor? Offbeat at best, irritating at worst. He has a tendency to crack awkward jokes that often seem more like button pushing than genuine attempts to be funny.
I was a little bit nervous about meeting Tony's parents for the first time, specifically his mom.
You were really nervous.
One early moment that highlights this is when he translates during a conversation between his parents and another family. Rather than genuinely helping his parents bridge the language gap, he gives a half-hearted, superficial version of what's being said. It's a moment that comes off more performative than helpful, especially considering the significance of the interaction.
Think you can really deal with me?
Yes, I can deal with you.
I don't know, are you sure? I'm quite crazy.
Yes.
That said, his dynamic with Mykelti is oddly fitting. Both have that eccentric, boundary-poking personality that might feel overwhelming to others, but it works between them. In fact, they almost resemble the kind of quirky middle school couple who think they're soulmates after 2 text convos. But against all odds, they've made it work. There are legitimate criticisms of how he handles family situations.
And so we're like, Tony, can you please tell your parents the different kinds of lasagna? And he's like, e lasagna, e lasagna.
For example, at a dinner where translation could have helped smooth a potentially awkward meeting between parents, he chooses not to step in. While there's merit in encouraging people to learn to communicate for themselves, some occasions, like that one, call for support and consideration.
My mom loves Mykelti. Called her daughter really early. Faster than I thought she would.
Still, over time, things shift. His relationship with Mykelti has grown into something stable and mutually supportive. Her connection with his family has been a significant emotional anchor for her. And while Tony still has a unique and divisive personality, he seems to genuinely love her. And more importantly, shows up as a present, involved parent.
Like, can I get a legit, honest
What is
answer?
your question?
What do you think about David?
He is funny and I get along with him.
Some of his later moments show more emotional intelligence than expected. A particular comment about Christine stands out as both perceptive and surprisingly funny, hinting at more depth beneath the awkward humor.
Tony has this great sense of humor. He's really grown on the family.
Ultimately, Tony may not be everyone's cup of tea, but in his own unconventional way, he's found his place. And perhaps, for Mykelti, that's exactly what she needed.
So, how's she doing?
Okay, Truly wouldn't drink.
Truly's kidney failure was not some tragic twist of fate. It was the direct result of neglect.
They called a kidney specialist in because they realized that she had no fluids in her.
Medical reports confirmed that she was severely dehydrated, which ultimately led to acute kidney failure. One of her older siblings recognized something was wrong, but by then, the damage had already begun.
Truly started acting very lethargic while we were at bowling.
In any situation involving a sick child, the most basic rule is to monitor hydration. Make sure they're drinking fluids. Check for signs of worsening illness. Yet those fundamentals were completely missed. The adult responsible at the time didn't notice that Truly wasn't eating, wasn't drinking, and was clearly deteriorating.
So I got Truly in the hospital. She got sick last week when Christine was out of town.
Instead of taking active steps, like checking her temperature, offering fluids, or seeking early medical attention, responsibility was handed off to teenage daughters. They were left to care for a child who was quietly slipping into a life-threatening condition.
But she's not well. Kidney failure means dialysis or death.
From a medical standpoint, this scenario raises serious red flags. In a hospital setting, This kind of oversight would typically prompt intervention from a social worker and potentially a report to Child Protective Services due to concerns about medical neglect. Whether that happened is unclear, but the situation warranted it.
So our family pediatrician sends Truly to the emergency.
Christine, upon returning home, took Truly to the pediatrician, who misdiagnosed her with the flu. When the symptoms didn't improve, she brought her to urgent care the following day. It was there that the true severity of the illness was recognized, and she was rushed to the emergency room. The failure wasn't hers. It was systemic, and it began with inattention at home.
And so I'd have to get back in the other bed and wait there and just laying there and just watching her.
One of the most heartbreaking images was of Truly sitting listlessly on the floor, too weak to engage, too sick to verbalize what was happening. At that age, children often can't articulate their pain clearly, which makes adult supervision all the more critical. Meanwhile, other adults in the household failed to grasp the seriousness of the situation. Rather than stepping in, they minimized the issue, or worse, misdirected blame.
When I would go and see her in the hospital, I would just, because she was so little.
One particularly tone-deaf comment suggested that Truly had given up and wasn't fighting, as if a child in kidney failure bears responsibility for her own decline.
Well, the nurses especially didn't think that she was going to make it.
The reality is far simpler. A critically ill child needed care, and she didn't get it. Not until it was almost too late.
Like having other people think the worst of us just because we're a polygamous family. They think all these things about us that aren't true.
Cody doesn't fear poverty. He fears looking poor. If financial security were truly the priority, he wouldn't have partnered with someone who brings zero hustle, a mountain of debt, and shops like retail therapy is a cure for a blackened soul.
But then we had to take a private mortgage on a portion of it that we just didn't have the cash for.
That $2 million mansion isn't about stability. It's a shiny distraction, a financial anchor dressed up as a status symbol, all while the income stream that funded it dries up.
I'm conservative on the budget for your party or your party.
Everything he does is about optics. To Cody, the real nightmare isn't being broke. It's being seen as broke. He complains constantly about money, yet makes impulsive, ego-driven purchases. The luxury vehicles, the oversized house, the overindulgent lifestyle. None of it aligns with someone worried about long-term security. It's all about maintaining the illusion, even as reality creeps in.
I don't have a home in 6 weeks. I could not get a hold of any rentals. I bought a trailer.
There's no real plan for the future, just fantasy investments and decorative trinkets, overpriced art, empty symbolism, hollow value. And when the family began to fracture, finances didn't tighten, they vanished. Accounts were quietly closed.
We have a family account, and the same amount of money is in it as when we bought Robyn's house.
Resources were rerouted. It was less damage control, more asset grab. He's had more than enough earnings to build a sustainable future, but instead of securing education, stability, or a legacy for his kids, he chose to bankroll the facade.
I'm sorry, my image is at stake here.
Because to him, nothing is more important than the image. Security was never the goal. Appearances were. This was the moment Robyn quietly sabotaged Aspen's wedding, and no one noticed.
She's just trying to say she'll figure it out and work with you.
Okay.
She's not going to be a princess here about this.
She's not going to be a princess about this? That's what Robyn said. When Cody began stressing about the wedding budget for Aspen, Robyn positioned herself as the interpreter of Cody's thoughts, the only one who truly speaks Cody. But her so-called translation, it was nothing more than subtle manipulation.
I think I've already told you, I think it's about what we paid for the other weddings, whether you realize it or not.
Her real goal seemed to be steering Aspen toward a cheaper wedding venue so more money could be reserved for future weddings of her own children. While the network did cover part of the wedding costs, Aspen and Mitch appeared to be practical and financially aware. They likely understood exactly what their budget allowed. Much of the surrounding drama seemed inflated, if not entirely constructed. What wasn't fabricated, however, was Aspen's reaction. Once again, the child who had helped raise her younger siblings was made to feel selfish for wanting something meaningful and well-earned.
I need you to know that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get you in this place because...
In the midst of all this, Mary stepped in. With quiet grace and firm support, she told Aspen to choose whatever she truly wanted and assured her she would make it happen. And she did. Mary personally paid for the costs beyond what was already covered. This was a reflection of a deeper truth. Mary maintained strong, genuine relationships with many of the older children.
So excited. I've seen them from a distance, but not been able to hug them.
During the often chaotic years in their shared household, she offered a steady presence, a place of calm and comfort. She was generous not only with her time, but with her financial resources, making things possible that might otherwise have been out of reach. Despite her flaws, Mary never withheld love based on whose child someone was. Her affection wasn't transactional, and it wasn't contingent on family politics. Unlike others, her commitment to the family, especially the children, was consistent and sincere. So when Robyn dismissed Aspen's wishes with the princess remark, Mary immediately spoke up. She defended Aspen without hesitation, knowing exactly how unjust and belittling that comment was. It wasn't about extravagance, it was about dignity. Aspen wasn't asking for a fairy tale, just a celebration worthy of her efforts and her role in the family.
I don't realize I'm a princess sometimes, but then sometimes we talk about it and I realize I am more.
The word princess had been weaponized before. Cody used it similarly with Christine, accusing her of acting entitled anytime she expressed her needs. The pattern was clear. When a woman in the family wanted something, the response was to guilt, minimize, or redirect.
Our marketing plan, that's why we're here. When you have tons of hits on a website a month.
And Robyn, she consistently prioritized her own interests. During the vote on the venue, she was the only one who withheld support. She had also resisted the idea of investing heavily in the children's college education, concerned that money might run out, except, of course, when it came to funding her personal ventures. While others hesitated or held back, Mary filled the gap, without fanfare, without conditions. The real reason Cody kicked out Janelle's sons? It had nothing to do with COVID.
If Garrison and Gabriel can cease their social lives, then I can come home.
During the height of COVID, Janelle's adult sons were told to pack up and leave. Because, as Cody put it, once you're 18, you're on your own. But somehow, that rule didn't apply to Robyn's adult children. They got to stay comfortably at home, untouched by the same expectations.
Jobs are the exception.
Well, I don't know. It depends on how careful you're being.
Weren't they all adults? Yes. But Cody made an exception. Because Robyn always gets the exception.
Is getting Garrison and Gabriel to maintain a social distance from the house.
This wasn't really about safety or health guidelines. It was about control. Gabe and Garrison challenged Cody. They didn't blindly follow his rules, and they certainly didn't tiptoe around his ego. So he framed their independence as rebellion and used COVID protocols as the reason to cut them off.
Trying to implement have been taking a toll on the family relationships. The fact is, in this environment, I'm just trying to keep my children, especially my small children.
Meanwhile, Robyn's children, who never pushed back, were portrayed as delicate, dependent, and above all, obedient. Cody never saw them as a threat, so they were allowed to stay.
I wasn't gonna get COVID. Brianna was at school social distancing and wearing a mask.
Ironically, Robyn's daughter actually caught COVID at school and brought it into their home. But Cody didn't use that as a reason to distance himself from Robyn's household. Because again, the rules were never the point. The enforcement was. Even Dayton, Robyn's oldest, was sent to live in a trailer when he stepped out of line. That wasn't highlighted on the show, but Cody referenced it later. The pattern is clear. If you don't serve his narrative, you're sidelined. Cody often claimed to value family unity, but his actions said otherwise. He wanted Logan to move back home. He welcomed Maddie's return. Yet when it came to Janelle's boys, who had opinions and boundaries, they were framed as dangerous outliers.
I got one wife that I've got a great relationship with.
The real reason? Cody favored Robyn. Always did. She knew how to keep his attention, and she knew how to keep others at a distance.
Because I got a 4-year-old who needs a dad till she's 21, and she just represents the entire family.
Her children were seen as an extension of her, and thus off limits. Over time, she positioned herself as the only wife who truly mattered. The rest became expendable, and their children collateral damage. This wasn't about COVID. It was about power, favoritism, and the quiet dismantling of a family that was never treated equally. Everything you thought about Christine and Robyn's friendship, it was fake.
No, we're not going to be friends because I don't trust you.
I don't.
Christine once claimed that if Robyn had ever genuinely reached out for friendship during the years they were all married to Cody, she would have turned her down because she didn't trust her. But that stands in stark contrast to earlier moments in the family's timeline.
So for a while, I felt like Robyn was the enemy. And now that I realize she's not the enemy, and she has my back, and she loves and cares for me.
In the beginning, Christine said that Robyn actually helped improve her relationship with Cody. She appeared supportive, even going so far as to suggest Robyn could have temporary custody of her children during a therapy discussion. There were even moments that gave the impression of a growing bond between them, such as attending events together like a cake tasting.
I still was so jealous at that point. I mean, I was trying so hard. I was just trying.
However, those early displays of unity now appear to have been surface level. Behind the scenes, it seems clear that Christine was saying what needed to be said to keep the peace, possibly more for Cody's approval than from genuine affection. Over time, it became more evident that the closeness was more performance than reality. Christine likely wasn't just playing a role for others, she may have been trying to convince herself too. At that time, maintaining the appearance of harmony was essential, but once distance from the marriage set in, the more honest reflections emerged.
Am I ever going to trust her? Probably not.
What she shares now, her lack of trust in Robyn and refusal of friendship, appears to be what she truly felt all along but couldn't safely express. There are deeper dynamics at play. Robyn didn't just join the family, she disrupted the hierarchy. Christine believed she was supposed to be the final wife, the position often associated with youth and favoritism. Janelle and Mary didn't feel like threats. Robyn did.
She knew that Cody was over at her house more than anybody else's. I'm not going to trust someone who says they want family.
She represented everything Christine feared, someone newer, younger, and potentially more loved by Cody. Despite the on-screen portrayal of a united family, there was always an undercurrent of tension. Robyn's arrival wasn't just another addition, it was a seismic shift. And Christine, for all her attempts at acceptance, was never truly okay with it. The later honesty simply reveals what had been suppressed for years.